I'm Julie Nelson. Welcome to KARE 11 Extras. These are the stories that take a little extra time to tell, to research, to find. They are meant to inspire, inform, and ignite curiosity. And in this episode, all things summer, a place where the walleye are all you can catch if you're willing to go there, plus two beloved babies making their debut at the Minnesota Zoo. And an agate adventure. Come along as Belle and I go on a treasure hunt with social media star Agate Dad. But we begin in the land of 10,000 stories. A new business is open at the Mall of America this summer that is already being called a success. But it turns out the new owner is a winner, whether her business booms or not. Boyd Huppert shares one sweet success story.
Come to Nickelodeon Universe at Mall of America and you'll see familiar cartoon characters. And a new one.
That's a cartoon version of me.
The cartoon version of Eden Esparza at the Coaster Cafe.
It's so exciting.
Where Eden just pulled off
Hello.
the seemingly impossible.
This one so far has been our best seller. It's her green slime vanilla.
But first, you gotta hear
Yes.
how this ride started.
Oh, that's my girl.
Enrico and Sharon, Eden's parents, saw in their 3-year-old a spark for baking.
Hi guys, hi guys, my name is Eden. You might have heard of me before.
By 5, she was making videos.
So today we're going to be making mango lassi.
And by 8, hawking cupcakes at a car dealership.
Yeah, we were buying a car, so she's like, great opportunity. She went to every cubicle.
But Eden's favorite mode of transportation was here.
I always remember going on the carousel with my dad and brother.
Yet no one expected the girl in the carousel photo to go on to do this.
Hi, my name is Eden Esparza. I'm a young entrepreneur.
That's the voicemail Eden left at the mall.
I sell customized cake pops. Please call me back as soon as you can. Bye.
A call that landed with food manager Barb Ross Hayes.
Yeah, it leaves you speechless, right? How wild is it that an 11-year-old girl cold called the Mall of America to see if she could sell her product here?
About as wild
I was a little bit intimidated.
as Eden making a pitch in a Mall of America boardroom.
It's a fun experience for people to have as a treat while they're visiting the mall.
First, get them off of the floor.
But you don't just start delivering.
Look at that.
Hundreds of handmade cake pops
These ones are the green slime.
to a mega mall. Eden needed a commercial kitchen,
So this is Polynesian purple, the outside color.
which her parents
It's all about the support.
helped her rent.
Hugs and good grades. That's her payment method.
Eden also needed a commercial license.
I studied for like 3 hours every day for 2 weeks straight.
She took the proctored test online.
She said, they're asking for my driver's license. And I said, Eden, did you tell them that you're only 13? So she went back and told them, I'm only 13, I have my school ID, and she passed it.
If the name on the license is vaguely familiar, this may be why. That's Ethan Esparza,
I think he's a good businessman.
Nice day out.
Eden's suited up older brother,
Hi.
featured on KARE 11 in 2007, selling lemonade.
Next year would be a half a decade I've done it.
Half a decade.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thanks.
Today, Ethan owns a real estate business,
I want to be like him. I want to be an entrepreneur.
with Eden hot on his trail.
What a pretty bouquet.
She's in the kitchen this Saturday because the mall ran out of her cake pops,
I'm happy that people are loving it.
perfected by Eden mostly through trial and error.
All of them already, yeah.
Green slime vanilla.
Dressed in Nickelodeon colors,
Oh, they're all delicious.
Eden's Cake Pops launched in February to rave reviews,
Yeah. The kids love them.
as did Eden.
I might work for her someday.
That's all she wants is a cake pop.
Not a thing wrong with little girls having amusement park-sized dreams.
Without her calling me back, none of this would have happened.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you.
Boyd Huppert, KARE 11 News,
It's been a fun ride.
Mall of America.
Eden is now 14 and still by far the youngest food vendor at Mall of America. As you might imagine, she's being responsible with her profits, saving everything she earns for college. You can watch full half-hour specials from Boyd's Land of 10,000 Stories on the KARE 11 Plus app for your TV. Just look under the News tab at the top. You can also watch every story from the beginning in 2004 by searching for the Land of 10,000 Stories, the complete collection, on YouTube. Still ahead, why Minnesota's beloved walleye is not so loved elsewhere. We'll take you to a place where they're all you can catch if you're willing to go there. Minnesota anglers love their walleye. It is the state fish and easily the most popular. But while there are strict limits on how many you can keep here, Jennifer Hoff takes us to Idaho to show us why there you can catch as many walleye as you want, and you'd be doing them a huge favor.
In a remote place is a river gorge running more than 100 miles long. Lined with towering cliffs, Hell's Canyon is a natural wonder. John McLean knows all too well.
Coming up.
The Idaho Department of Fish and Game Conservation officer has long patrolled these parts, especially popular for fishing.
I checked a 25-inch walleye that a guy had. When he was holding it up, I thought it must have been a catfish because it was so big.
Walleyes so big they would make any Minnesota angler envious. Except that favorite fish is anything but here.
I think they're big toothy predators.
Marika Dobos is a state biologist and says walleye aren't bad, they're just wrong for Idaho.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's not the whitefish, but salmon that reigns supreme.
We have spring and summer Chinook, we have fall Chinook, we have coho, so it's busy.
Salmon have significant recreational, cultural, and economic importance, bringing in $1 billion every year. But the species is being threatened, and it's people like Dobos and McLean protecting them, particularly on the Snake River that runs straight through that stunning canyon. Eventually dumping into the Pacific Ocean, it's the same path the salmon follow to spawn. Some say is getting tougher due to rising water temperatures, declining habitat, and dams.
When you have those anomalies that we can't control, you're taking a small population that's already depressed, and then you're just adding more factors to it that's further affecting them in a negative way.
What's more, that walleye is making things worse as they keep migrating further downriver. Anglers catching some in Lewiston, an old gold mining town and gateway to Hell's Canyon, and even more at Lower Granite Dam, some 60 miles away, where Dobos is trapping the fish to track their activity.
Up until 2016, we haven't caught any walleye at the trap. From 2016, we've seen nothing but this exponential increase in walleye.
A fish never meant here in the first place was illegally introduced in Oregon some 70 years ago. The invasive species, now turned apex predator, has a penchant for none other than salmon.
They're sitting in places where there's a lot of food available. These are areas where these juvenile fish are rearing. They're trying to just get by and survive the winter and get big enough so they can migrate out. And that's part of why we reach out to the angling community, is to get that support from people, to get the help from anglers and the buy-in that these are bad things, so we're going to go out there and we're going to do our part to remove them.
Now it's essentially open season here on walleye.
Yeah.
Through here.
You can fish for them anywhere.
Well, this is our mainly our walleye section.
Anytime, and John Snazza is here to help.
We've expanded a lot in the last two and a half years, just because walleye's gotten so popular.
A former guide turned salesman, he's long fished for walleye.
Walleye have very good eyes.
Bagging some big ones.
Probably 30 inches.
And pointers along the way. He's now passing on to new customers.
This is a walleye rig.
Equally enthralled by the thrill of the catch and its mouth-watering taste.
You hook this on like this.
So much business is booming and shows no signs of stopping to catch a fish that, unlike Minnesota,
it's really quite a business.
Has no limits.
Below Lower Granite this year, I caught over 100 walleye.
Except hoping to harvest them all can feel futile.
Walleye are mysterious to me right now.
Especially for the folks caught now in this complicated relationship between Minnesota's most revered fish and the other it's putting at risk, whose value is as vast as this landscape they both now live in.
The fact that we have people reporting walleye caught here when there's so few people up here is pretty mind-boggling, and that's the struggle.
Besides trying to outfish walleye, Fish and Game is proposing to allow spearfishing and asking anglers not to release any they catch. Still to come, they are beloved, they are babies, and they are back at the Minnesota Zoo. A look at 2 new baby red pandas and their new home. These little guys debuted at the Minnesota Zoo earlier this summer, and by all accounts, they are a big hit. Red pandas have been missing at the zoo since 10-year-old Min died in 2021. Now, the beloved species is back, and Rena Sargentopoulos gives us a look at the stars of the show, their roommates, and the year-long process to make their new home.
Red pandas have been at the Minnesota Zoo since it opened in 1978, so we have a really long history.
If you are a tiny tyke, you have never experienced the wonder of red pandas at the Minnesota Zoo. But the wait
So this project's been in the works for over a year.
Is over.
Really utilizing this space to bring that species back to the zoo, for us, was kind of a no-brainer.
The zoo had space and red pandas were top of the list. A no-brainer, he says, because, well, there's cute and then there's red pandas cute. But the exhibit was too big for just red pandas, so now what?
We look at where red pandas might be from. We also look at what other animals are available. So we're excited that we're going to be bringing in western tufted deer and red-crowned cranes to supplement the red pandas.
3 species native to China and the Himalayas that all do well in cold climates. Now, you might think the zoo goes out and searches for the animals and then builds the habitat around them, but it's the other way around, a sort of build it and they will come kind of thing.
Everything's intentional. Everything's intentional.
Gina Louise is the exhibit designer. She has to create a space that is comfortable and enriching for the animals, ensures that they can't escape, and also gives guests a good view.
You feel like you're really in their setting, watching them in the wild. So like creating foreground, midground, background, you know, a lot of zoos don't have anything up front because they want you to be right in there. But if you were looking at an animal in the wild, there'd probably be something between you and that animal.
Misters, mossy areas, and solar-powered cooling spaces will help keep the pandas on view during our hot summer months. And a brand new building will house all of the animals at night or in bad weather. Okay, now we just need the animals.
I love cranes.
The first to arrive are the red-crowned cranes, sisters hatched last year from National Zoo in Washington, D.C.
They're called red-crowned cranes, but you might have noticed there's no red on them right now. They're kind of drab colors, and that's because they still have their juvenile plumage.
Dr. Ann Rivas says it will be about 2 years before those red feathers start to pop. The cranes are about 5 feet tall, will hunt insects and frogs, and on the day we visited, we're getting their physical exams.
Hi, sweet girl, I know.
The girls passed. And though they are beautiful, it was the stars of the show who arrived next.
Yeah, I know. There's people here to see ya.
Here's your first peek at cedar and spruce.
Even their crunching is very cute.
They are 9-month-old brothers born at the Lincoln Children's Zoo in Nebraska.
They have settled in really well and started bonding with their care staff here, and we're thrilled to see how quickly they've acclimated to life here in Minnesota.
Come here. You want some?
Dr. Rivas is feeding them nutritional biscuits and some fruit for snacks, but their main diet is bamboo.
Good job. You want a grape for that?
Red pandas are considered endangered, and while panda is in the name, they are more closely related to raccoons, weasels, and skunks. These cuties currently weigh in at about 10 to 12 pounds and will likely live to be teenagers.
That kind of snuffle sound as he's smelling, trying to figure out who we are and what we're doing. They can kind of growl and grumble. They've got just the best little personalities.
Yes, you will want to snuggle with one, but it's not recommended. The final residents, the tufted deer.
They're pretty petite, they're really adorable. And the little male that we have, his name is Douglas. He's been a little gentleman so far.
Douglas is from the Cleveland Zoo. His girlfriend will arrive from Prospect Park Zoo in New York soon. They will be a breeding pair.
Tufted deer are a species that need support in our zoos to help maintain their populations, and so we're happy to be able to provide a home for a breeding pair and their offspring and help support that population.
They are most well known for their adorable little fang-like teeth. Douglas hasn't grown his yet. They love to browse on leaves and are a brand new species at the Minnesota Zoo.
They have a lot of really interesting vocalizations, so if he's trying to figure out who you are, he'll sit there and click at you. They can bark, they can growl, so even though they're small, they have a big personality.
Well, we mentioned all the zoos that our new animals came from. They are not on loan. It's all part of the conservation side of things, where the Association of Zoos and Aquariums works together behind the scenes to make sure animals are protected and preserved for future generations. Belle and I have a date with a rock star. Uh-oh, this is addicting.
Yeah.
The Agate Dad taking social media by storm with the Minnesota treasure you can hunt too. Next. Recently, Belle and I hung out with a rock star. Not the kind that plays music and breaks guitars. This guy just really loves rocks. Agates, to be exact. On social media, he's known as the Agate Dad, and his videos get hundreds of thousands of views. We went up to the North Shore to meet him and learn more about a Minnesota treasure that everyone can hunt. Only a rock star would get Belinda and me out on the North Shore on a cold, stormy day in April. Such a lovely day. Yeah. And Taylor, otherwise known as the Agate Dad, is definitely a star in the world of rocks. How many followers do you have?
Grand total with all of them together, it's close to 2 million.
Fans flock to Taylor's social media pages to watch him find,
That's awesome.
cut, and polish agates, including Minnesota's official gemstone.
Oh my gosh!
The Lake Superior agate.
It's perfect.
Agates from Lake Superior range in color, but on the outside, its potato-like husk is often yellow or orange. And on the inside, it's known for its beautiful red and orange banding, derived from iron ore deposits in the soil.
We came down the little pathway, and I said, oh my God, that's Taylor.
Even on this, shall we say, less than ideal day, we ran into Taylor's superfans.
I know an insane amount about him because we watch his agate videos every single week.
Inspired by Taylor, Annie Myers and her partner drove all the way from South Dakota to give agate hunting a try.
He's got all kinds of tips and tools and tricks.
One of the first tips, try to hunt after a storm.
Oh my God.
Missed it by this much, because the waves will wash up new crops of rocks. So what's the ideal weather to agate hunt?
Not today.
Sunny is good, because then it kind of helps with the glowing aspect of it.
Most agates are fluorescent, and sunshine lights them up, making them easier to spot on the beach. Which would have been helpful today, as spotting agates isn't easy. Nothing? Look how cool these are, though.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing, though?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I really want to find one. Agate hunting takes patience, practice, and acceptance that the first one you find will likely be small. But hey, so was Taylor's.
I looked down and it was just the size of a blueberry, but it had bands over it, and I'm like, this is it, and boom, I was hooked. And that's what started everything.
And now he has a garage full of agates. Many he found, others he bought.
This bin right here is full of calandria agates from Mexico.
The videos where Taylor cuts these agates open get the most views online, and Belle and I couldn't resist giving it a try.
And it's got a really nice banded window right here. And you could cut it right in through there. I think you have a pretty good shot at getting some nice bands.
All right, let's do it.
Belle picked an agate from Botswana.
Okay, check it out.
Mine was from Malawi. Ready?
Oh, geode.
Wow.
That's the geode agate you were asking for.
Did you see that, Belle? That's so cool. Uh-oh,
That's
this
awesome.
is addicting.
Yeah.
So many people have become agate addicts that there's an entire festival dedicated to them in the self-proclaimed agate capital of the world, Moose Lake. And while Moose Lake is obviously not on Lake Superior agates can be found here, dropped during the Ice Age by glaciers that deposited them throughout much of the upper Midwest.
These are all Lake Superior agates.
20 years ago, Boyd Hoopert paid a visit to Moose Lake's agate days.
I started picking agates when I was 5 years old.
And met organizer Roger Biebel as he shopped.
This is $2,100.
And then helped mix agates and quarters in with a dump truck full of gravel for the signature event.
Hold your positions, please.
The Agate Stampede. Back then, the festival attracted about 1,000 people.
We're actually on our 56th year.
And while Roger hasn't changed much since then, the festival has grown so big, it crashes cell phone service.
I actually called up AT&T. I go, what's going on? How come you can't keep that? And they said, we have 20,000 people in the Moose Lake area that are not normally there, and our system could not handle it.
So whether it's the controlled chaos of agate days or the solitude of the North Shore, there's Minnesota treasures out there this summer just waiting to be found.
This is a one-of-a-kind thing. To have Lake Superior and the gifts that it brings, it's just really special.
If you'd like to check out Agate Days, they'll be held in Moose Lake July 19th and 20th this year. Remember, you can continue to catch up on the KARE 11 Extras on the KARE 11 Plus app for your TV. Go to the news menu at the top, then scroll down to Extras. Thanks for watching.